Does presidential historian Doug Weed agree? Bigger than Watergate? What do you think, Professor?
I think it's big. It's the Halloween, the specter of Watergate hovers over the Capitol. In Watergate, the crime was not the crime was the cover-up. And without the cover-up, Nixon would have been just fine. This is kind of a reverse situation. You have the Clintons committing the crime, so to speak, and the cover-up. Nixon quoted Disraeli when he left office and said, "I wasn't a good butcher, that you've got to be a good butcher to be a leader," meaning I should have cut my people loose and let them suffer for their own mistakes and protected my presidency. But with the Clintons, you have their own people smashing with hammers cell phones and eliminating emails and risking prison and bargaining with the FBI for their own immunity. You have the staff covering up for the Clintons, so it's kind of like the T-shirt's been pulled inside out and you can see the labels and the stitches. So it's like Watergate, but a little different.
You know, you mentioned Nixon, and I always love when you go back in time because you're such a good historian here, but Nixon was famous in that David Frost interview for saying, "I gave them a sword." In other words, I gave them the means by which they would ultimately bury me. A lot of people are losing sight of, whatever you think of Comey's actions, that none of this would have happened if Hillary Clinton didn't have this darn private email server to begin with, so that she gave herself her own modern-day sword. What do you make of that?
Oh, yeah, that's very, very, very true. I mean, Nixon in his memoirs said, "I should have destroyed the tapes immediately after Alexander Butterfield revealed them in the Senate Watergate hearing." But never, never would he suggest that he burned the tapes after they'd been subpoenaed. That would have been a clear violation of the law. When they were subpoenaed, he gave over all the tapes, including the 18.5-minute gap. Nothing was withheld.
But what happens now, though, Professor? I mean, when I look at this and think of the fallout, a lot of Democrats are complaining this isn't fair or right. Harry Reid going so far to say it's illegal. Lanny Davis on this show with me just a few minutes ago saying much the same thing. This is a very provocative move. Now, they didn't seem to mind it. You know, on July 5th, he comes out, that is, Comey makes a grand announcement he's not going to pursue a criminal case or recommend one against Hillary Clinton. Be that as it may, is it your sense now that this has even divided Democrats? Because just now we've heard from Josh Earnest more or less saying, look, Comey is a guy of integrity. I think he's trying to dial back a lot of this stuff, but no one's on the same page in that party. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a definitive moment in our history as a people. We're going to become a country like some in Latin America and Africa and Asia, where the rule of law applies to some and not others. Stop and think. Comey said intent. He couldn't prosecute because of intent originally. Well, we've got Harold Martin III sitting in jail tonight. He didn't steal those documents for the Russians or the Chinese. He didn't steal them to make money. He lives quite modestly, even poorly. Right. He took the biggest cache of classified documents and stuffed them in his garage, he says, to protect the CIA. There's no intent there, but I'll bet you Harold Martin III dies in prison and the Clintons go free. So it's a very defining moment in American history.
But is this your definition of an October surprise, and this is the one we didn't count on? Is it the revelations Obamacare is costing more than people thought, premiums higher than people thought, or could we still see more in the next 8 days of November?
Oh, this is big. This is bigger than any October surprise we've had. Either the Clintons will land on their feet, as they have in previous scandals, or...
But will it move the needle? Do you think it will move the needle and affect people's votes? What do you think?
I think it will, but even if she wins, the Clintons could bleed out in the White House, and Tim Kaine could end up as president in some scenario, because this thing isn't over. That many emails, there's something there. Remember, Cardinal Richelieu said, give me 9 lines written by any man, and I can have him hung as a criminal. Imagine if you gave Richelieu 650,000 emails. I think he could find something.
And all he needed were 9. Wow. I'm doomed. All right, Professor, thank you very, very much. Good chatting with you.
Thank you.